Shout out to my man Yoda, wherever you are. Attack the Clones is a movie. It's the second film in the Star Wars prequels. Plot goes something like this. It starts with an attempt on Queen Amidala's life. She's a senator now. Obi-Wan and Anakin are put in charge of protecting her. Of course, somebody tries to kill her again, immediately. So they chase her down. The Jedi Council splits up Obi-Wan and Anakin, so that Anakin is now protecting Queen Amidala by himself, or Senator Amidala, or whatever. Obi-Wan goes on the hunt for this bounty hunter that the assassin mentioned as she died. Anakin goes with Padme to this private cabin where they kind of lead each other on, but they're like, oh no, we can't bang. I'm a Jedi, you're a senator, it would ruin our careers, basically. But they're in a private cabin by themselves, and they totally just want to bang each other. While that's going on, Obi-Wan is chasing down Jango Fett. He chases him to Kamino, where he discovers that there's this clone army that they're building for the Republic, even though the Jedi never ordered it. So it's oh, that's weird. Well, let's use this army anyway. But he keeps changing Jango until Jango leads him to another planet where there's a secret meeting going on with Count Dooku, but Obi-Wan gets caught. While that's going on, it's there's two stories going on. Anakin has dreams about his mom being in danger, so he goes back to Tatooine and he finds that alien guy who leads him to somewhere else. And he finds that she was sold to a man who freed her and then made her his wife. And so he has this whole step family, but he only wants to save his mom. He finds her, but just before she dies, and that makes him so angry. He kills all the sand people in that tribe or something. Just slaughtered them. And then once that's done, he gets a message from Yoda explaining that Obi-Wan's been captured, and so he and Amidala go to rescue him. They fail, get caught, and they're all put in this gladiator arena where they're attacked, but they break out. But that's when Count Dooku's gonna be just kill them all. The Jedi show up with all the clone army, start this huge attack. Dooku escapes from that area, and they chase him down. But Dooku, even though he's fighting two Jedis at once, he, defeats them handedly. Then Yoda shows up and saves both of them, but Dooku gets away. Anakin and Padme decide to secretly get married, and that's it. More or less. Well, a week ago, I would have told you that all the prequels were really bad for entirely separate reasons. But I still liked enough in them, I'd probably give them a 5 out of 10. Just from what I remembered, because I really haven't seen any of these since 2005, like I said in the last video. But after watching The Phantom Menace yesterday, disliking it so much and realizing that it's just a hunk of garbage, really. There is no redeeming qualities to it. Just really made my expectations for this movie really low. And maybe because of that, or maybe just I haven't seen it in a while, and what I remembered was mostly just that horrible romance stuff, which I'll get to in a minute. I actually enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I was surprised. It's not great, but it's not terrible either.
Someday I will be the most powerful Jedi ever.
So let's start talking about good and bad stuff, I guess. I used to really hate that romantic section, but okay. I think what sums it up is this one scene.
What is your suggestion, Master Jedi?
Oh, Anakin's not a Jedi yet. He's still a Padawan learner. I was thinking I would stay in the Lake Country. There's some places up there that are very isolated.
Anakin's just been left alone with Padme, and they're talking to the current queen. She's trying to set them up with a good place or whatever, but then Padme interrupts and is but I think that we should go to this private cabin where the two of us can just spend as much time as we need to completely alone. It's subtle, but it's there. That she's basically trying to get together with Anakin. To me, that indicated that she wants him as much as he does. What I'm saying is that if you're just looking at the surface level, the romance isn't good. I would say if you're looking for subtle things like that, it's actually decent. It's not great or anything. I still wouldn't call it the best romance. I mean, Han and Leia are obviously a better pairing. Or even Finn and Poe. They're a better pairing than these two. Something that bugs me in general is that a lot of the things that happen, they share this kiss when they're finally alone together, but then she goes away and be we can't do it. And I really think that everything that happens after that, regarding the romance stuff at least, would make more sense if they just banged. At that point. I mean, I felt the subplot of the dark side is just diminishing Yoda and Mace Windu's powers, which is stupid. It felt like you could probably just go through and cut out every line about it, and it would have been fine. pretty much. For some reason, George Lucas, I think, started thinking of Yoda as like some kind of demigod or something, and that he has like he has all this unlimited power. He can see the future, he can see the whatever. But like, you know, in the original movies, like Yoda isn't all powerful, you know. And in fact, I would say his abilities with the Force isn't even what's best about him. It's his wisdom, you know, just his knowledge of life. The worst part about this movie is that it's just not Star Wars. It doesn't feel like Star Wars. Some parts do. I kind of like the whole mystery aspect, even though I think even before people start watching this, we know it was Palpatine, right? But like the whole mystery aspect of Obi-Wan, like trying to find this information to see what's going on. I thought that was cool, and like some of those parts I think felt like Star Wars. I feel the most this movie feels like Star Wars is just setting up areas. Like when he goes to Kamina, and you see all these like, well, CG establishing shots, I guess. He does establish this world very well, and you kind of see like how it is. It seems like it's covered in storms and stuff, and it's mostly a water planet or maybe like a swamp-like planet, kind of like Dagobah. But, I mean, to have establishing shots be the most Star Wars aspect of this movie is kind of, I don't know, lame. There were a lot of things I felt like other movies, you know, like it kind of felt a little like Gladiator when they're in that gladiator arena being fighting or whatever. Well, like in the last movie, I feel like the biggest problems were complete tonal ignorance and terrible characterization. And here I feel like both those problems have been fixed. But the tone feels basically like a dumb action movie. There's a lot of actiony bits that I actually appreciate. Like as long as you're not like thinking like this is supposed to be Star Wars and you're just like thinking this is an action movie in space, it's pretty good. It's decent. It's not great, but it's pretty good, I think. And like some of the dialogue is just a mess. There's a lot of people who like say like those romantic lines or them just talking and stuff, and like that sand, it's horrible, it gets everywhere or whatever. It's coarse. No one likes it. But really, it's like none of the dialogue is really that great. Again, I feel prequels are pointless. This one feels more like it has a point. You know, again, it's like setting up this mystery that we already know the answer to because we saw the original trilogy. But it does feel more entertaining, and there's more of an adventure going on, and there's better characters. I think Obi-Wan and Anakin actually, like the best parts of the whole movie is whenever they're talking to each other, I feel like, which is kind of too bad that they're split up, like, basically right away.
No, I don't like it when you do that.
Sorry, Master. I forgot you don't like flying.
It feels like a buddy cop movie, you know, when they're together. But, like, when they're apart, then they go apart, and it's like, oh, no, now it's this horrible romance and this actually pretty decent mystery going on. And, again, that romance isn't as bad as I thought it was. It's okay. People have been giving it a lot of flack for years, and I think that kind of builds it up in your mind, too, so that when you finally see it, it's like, it's all right. Who cares? And, like, the romance is, like, you know, it doesn't match the tone. I would say that's the only part that doesn't really match the tone, which is maybe why people latch onto it as, like, this is a really bad part of this movie. It's like everything else is like a buddy cop film, you know? It's kind of comedic, kind of fun, not really entirely serious. But then it comes back to these romantic bits that are very serious. And everyone, and Padme and Anakin are both, like, really overacting, I guess. They're being overdramatic. It's melodramatic. That's the word. For the most part, I think melodrama is tacky, really, but that's just me. Anakin, I feel, is a bit overblown at points, you know, like I know he's supposed to be like solely being drifted to the dark side, and Obi-Wan's not a good teacher, really, at least not with Anakin. I guess he's better with Luke, even though he gives him one lesson and then dies. But Anakin is like he's slowly losing control, and I think when his mother dies, that's when he pretty much embraces the Vader within. Anakin and Obi-Wan felt much more like real people than they did in the first movie, that anyone did in the first movie. But here, I feel like everyone kind of feels much more human. Padme just feels a little more stoic, but even she gets her moments. I really like her when her and Anakin, when she's allowed to do anything. When her and Anakin are trying to bust Obi-Wan out, I thought she got a time to kind of shine for a bit. I liked when Yoda fought Dooku, but outside of that, I didn't really like Yoda, actually. I felt he was just there because you expect him to be there instead of the Jedi Council or whatever. Well, I'm giving everything else a rating I've done so far, so I should probably do that here, right? 7, out of 9. Yeah, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Just as long as you're not expecting like a Star Wars movie or something that feels like Star Wars, because it feels more like an action movie. But I enjoy action movies, so I enjoyed it. The tone is consistent throughout. The characters are alive. I mean, it's such an improvement from the first movie. Such an improvement. It's much better than the Phantom Menace, and also I feel like you don't even have to watch the Phantom Menace to watch this. You could just jump right in here and start with this one if you're watching. I guess if you're watching everything in order. Skip the Phantom Menace, or maybe read the book because I heard that was a lot better, but I haven't read it yet. And then watch this. Don't watch the Phantom Menace. Just start with this one. That's my advice, because it is a pretty good movie. Just don't expect it to be Star Wars. Dumb action movie in space. May the Force be with you.